Welcome back to my channel. It's Rene Marcus. Thank you so very much for tuning in. And if you're new to my channel, thank you so much, guys. And I'm so sorry for coming in late. I know that I scheduled for 6 o'clock, but I guess this is just the African time. I'm never on time, and you guys should be used to this by now. So I've got Lama again here, and today we will be talking about the educational system in the Gambia. And should we just wait till people start joining in? Because I can see that no one is available.
Yeah,
we had 3 actually, but then because we were late, so people were not coming in.
Yeah,
or should we just start?
No, we can give it a little bit of time because at the end of the day, the message is meant for the people. So if there is no one who listens to the message, and yeah.
Oh, 9 are here. So yeah, we can wait till we hit 20 and then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Start.
Yeah. Mustig, boy, farm work at it.
Oh, farm work at I know, right?
Man. You have $1 something?
Go to Wisconsin, that's saying.
Wisconsin. Oh, okay, that's cool. Like a Yanks, yeah?
Yanks, yeah, nah, Catherine, most of the time, so.
All right, that's great. That's good, man.
So.
Yeah, that's true.
Greetings, Rahim. Or Rahman, should I say?
Yeah. Man, this Abdourahman Bojang, it seems like I know him, you know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's one of my fans.
Oh yeah, I know.
I love this guy.
His messages like on the comments, you know.
He's amazing. Yeah. Absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Walker, what have you been up to? What have you been up to, Walker?
Yeah, just running errands today, really.
Okay.
Not much going on.
All right.
Yeah.
I've told him he's always in the car.
Yeah. When you live with your African parents, man, you always got to be out and about every time.
Yeah. I know.
Go to the store or go to this, drop this off, bring this back. Always something.
That's true. That is so true. 5 more to go.
No, I don't think so. No.
Big farms?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, so today we're doing a family thing. So guys, you already know that you can join into this conversation. So if you have anything to throw in, just let me know and then I will share the link so that you can join into this conversation.
Okay, I think the noise is better now.
Yeah, I think it's gone down.
All right, let's try it one more time. Do you want to? So it's like basically anybody who talks and it comes up.
Sorry, say that again.
Now it seems like if anyone talks, you can hear the static.
Oh yeah. Wait, when I talk, can you hear it?
Yeah, when you talk, I can hear the statics.
It's actually both of you. I don't know where it's coming from, but like it's giving a bad feed from here.
Yeah, but okay, because I think I'm good on my side. I'm not sure about Renee. Is it possible? Do you want to use like an earpiece to see if you have any?
Mine is wireless. It's not going to work.
Okay, it's not going to work. Okay.
No, unless I use my phone, which I think I'm gonna end up messing things up like last time.
No. Yeah, you don't want to do that. Yeah.
But I'll try and speak as loud as possible.
Okay.
Okay, I think we should start because time is going. We've got, I think, 2 just left. So, Lama, on your channel, you did discuss about the educational system in the Gambia and also opportunities in the Gambia, things that people can actually invest on, or should I say businesses that people can actually invest on within the educational sector. So can you just kind of explain yourself, introduce what you were talking about, and then we can just tackle the conversation?
Hi everyone, my name is Lamarana. I'm a content creator on YouTube. You can check my channel, which is the Halat Africa Show. Few days ago, I did a video about education in the Gambia. So basically what I was looking at was the tertiary education in the country and how best we can make it better, how best we can make it suit the realities of Gambia. So my focus basically was looking at vocational training in the Gambia, because I realized that most of our school curriculum is not geared towards vocational training. And we know that these vocational skills are very important if we want to develop our country, because Gambia is a developing country. There is so much that can be done. But if we lack these skills from Gambians, then it makes it very difficult for us to develop our country unless we have people coming from outside to take some of these jobs. And if you check our job market, that is exactly what is taking place today. So I think we need to reform our educational system to definitely suit the realities of what is happening in the Gambia. And my hope is that the government will take the leadership in making sure that we have that in the Gambia.
Okay, so do you think it's the government's responsibility though?
I think the government has a huge responsibility. It has to be a partnership between the government and that of the private sector. But what is happening, I think, is mostly for the government to be blamed, because the government has structured our educational system in such a way that people are not taught about skills that can give them jobs, tomorrow. The courses that we have, for instance, at the University of the Gambia, for the most part, is after graduation, you are taught to, seek for jobs. You are not taught to be a job creator. And I think that's a fundamental problem. I think in this day and age, we should transform our educational system in such a way that by the time people graduate from our colleges or our universities, they are ready to create jobs for themselves. Yes.
Okay, that is true, because I know that there are quite a lot of schools in the Gambia when it comes to schools, colleges, and universities. Well, I thought there was actually more than 2 universities in the Gambia till you actually mentioned on your previous video, which your link is in the description box, so people can actually go and watch the video about this specific topic. And you did mention that there's only 2 universities in the Gambia, and one is it an American university you mentioned, and
Yes.
the other one it's Gambian university. So which one did we had first? Was it the Gambian university or was it the American?
Yeah, it was the Gambian University. This was set up in March of 1999. It was the first time we ever had a university in the Gambia. And it's just so sad that from independence, from 1965, it had to take us almost 30 something years before we can have our first university. And if you check, in those days, most of our Gambians who want to pursue higher education had to leave the Gambia and go to other neighboring countries in West Africa, or even travel to the US or UK. And that means that we have very little opportunities for Gambians to access higher education, because we all know it is very expensive for parents to send their kids overseas to study, or even for the government of the Gambia. So in essence, having the university at the Gambia makes it easy for Gambians to access education, which is affordable and accessible. So.
Okay, but you've also mentioned that nowadays it's really hard to be accepted in the Gambian university.
Absolutely, it is very hard to be accepted in the university because this is the only government-owned university we have, and then the competition is very high. If you check, the number of students who are graduating from grade 12 every year, it's a huge pool. And the only university that we have in the Gambia, which is the government-owned, cannot absorb all of those people. So therefore, I think there is room for investors. There is room for us to have more universities in the country. Gambia, I believe, should have at least 3 to 4 universities.
That's right. But if investors actually come to build private universities, wouldn't that be too expensive for the Gambians?
Yes, it is going to be very challenging. But nonetheless, I think it is better for us to have multiple universities than just having one, because not everybody will be able to access those universities in the sense that if it is expensive. But what I believe is, having multiple universities will help in making education accessible in the sense that those universities who are coming, because the government has to play a key role here. You bring in investors to build universities, go into a partnership with them to make sure that the tuition is affordable for Gambians. Because anybody who is coming to build a university in the Gambia should understand that majority of Gambians are not rich. So therefore, we are looking for those investors who are not just concerned about maximizing profit, but people who are also concerned about, helping the country when it comes to producing more graduates at the end of the day.
Okay, well, correct me if I'm wrong. In regards to the university, the Gambian University, is it basically being financed to help the students in that actual university to get what they want at the end of it? Because I know that there isn't like I'm not sure whether there's a vocational training that goes on to basically try and not only educate students, but also get them ready for the outside world. So once they're done with education, they know that, okay, with the experience and the practical things that they've been doing at university, they can now bring out those skills and then get being employed. Because I know quite a lot of graduates that have graduated in the Gambia but struggling after 15 years or after 10 years of being in education, and they can't do nothing for themselves whatsoever. So does the government actually help in regards to that in the university? And this is not just universities, in the schools, colleges. What do you have to say in that?
I think when it comes to accessibility of education, what the government can do or should do is to build the structures and to make sure that they are functioning. Whatever materials which are needed are all provided for. But when you check in the Gambia, during my research, I found out that the households, they carry most of the burden when it comes to sponsoring our educational system. Because if you I can give you the statistics here of like, let's say in 2010, the government, the GDP that they spent was 4.16%. In 2011, it was 3.93%. 2012, 4.1%. Fast forward to 2018, the government spent only 2.3% of the country's GDP on education. So this is very, very small. And when we talk about GDP here, we have to understand the context of how much the government is able to put in. Let's say in the case of Singapore, 2% in Singapore will translate into billions of dollars, because I checked, it's between 2 to 10 billion US dollars that they invest in their education. But in the Gambia, because of government's GDP portfolio is so small that 2%, if the government should invest that in education, it's just like a drop in the ocean. So that is not going to bring about changes. But the structure of our education at the University of the Gambia, Gambians are more interested in the social sciences, like people have Faculty of Agriculture, you have public business and public administration, IT, maybe medicine or so. These areas are all good. But at the end of the day, if you study agriculture, you graduate, you expect that the government should hire you. If the government doesn't hire you, basically you're just going to go home and sit like that. There are no funds available to help these graduates to invest in small businesses like in agriculture or so. So what I am advocating for is that let's bring in courses at the university, vocational training, wherein we train our Gambian students to become carpenters, to become engineers, to become weldmen, to become plumbers. At the end of the day, because there are ready market jobs which are there waiting for graduates from these fields. Once you graduate, if the government doesn't hire you or somebody else doesn't hire you, you can set up your own enterprise because you have the skills, you have the know-how, and then the market is there because people are constructing, people are building every day. We need plumbers, we need.
That's true.
Yeah, basically.
But the thing is, because we do not have this vocational training, it's basically making people not knowing what they want, or they don't actually know what they want to do. Because you will find a lot of youths, when you ask them, what do you want to do after education? They have no idea, because they actually don't know where they belong or what kind of talent that they have, because there's nothing set for them to actually expose themselves out there to say, I'm going to try these multiple things and then see what I'm good at.
Absolutely. So, you're right about that, because what we have in the Gambia is, I'll take it from myself. When I was going to school, junior school and high school, I never had a mentor. There wasn't any mentorship program to guide our youths to show them, what are the possibilities, things that they can do. We all need role models in our lives, because any successful person that you see, that person, that is somebody he or she is looking up to. But how can you go through a school system, 12 good years, you never have a mentorship? And then even within the schools, there is not a program wherein they counsel people, these are some of the opportunities, or these are some of the areas that you can pursue. Because when I was going to school, I wanted to become a lawyer, but there was nobody that I can look up to. So it was only my brother, my elder brother then, whom I was looking up to. So he advised me, look, you want to do law, you can go to GTI. I decided to go to GTTI. And then even within GTTI, there is no such structure wherein, somebody will advise you into, if you want to study law, for instance, what aspects of law do you want to do? You just want to do law, you just go in there blindly.
And you don't.
So sometimes you study, you finish, at the end of the day, you are confused as to what side of law do you want to study, practice, or whatever you want to do. So this is a problem in our system, because the way our educational system is set up, it is just set up to process people like a factory system. You go through the educational system. Once you're done, it is your own show. They don't prepare you for anything. So I'm saying that it is time for us to reverse that. We have to bring in a system of education that reflects the realities in the Gambia. And then what kind of education are those? Vocational training is one of them. We need the sciences, we need math, we need ICT. These are areas which are crucial for the development of the Gambia, because we cannot leave our development to outsiders. Today, I'm going to give you an example. In the Gambia, if you are looking for a tilesman, it's almost impossible for you to have a Gambian. If you're looking for people, people who lay down the tiles, in most of the time is Senegalese. People who do the ceilings, they are not Gambian. Most of them are Senegalese or Nigerians. So when you look at the construction industry, you find out that about 70% of all the employees are not non-Gambians. And this is not good for our country, because at the end of the day, those people, whatever money they make, it goes back to their countries. That's true. Our youth are sitting saying that there are no jobs in the Gambia. There is a lot of jobs in the Gambia. It's just that our youth are not prepared to take up those jobs. And then I think the responsibility of preparing the youth, that is the responsibility of the government and then the private sector. But the government has to take the lead, because the government has to pave the way. Once they pave the way, the private sector will follow.
That's true, because Gambia does have quite a lot of schools. But it's like, what I feel is that the schools are just there, and it's like they're just building schools upon schools, but not financially maintained. So this also affects students and also the teachers as well, because the teachers that are being employed, yes, they are doing a great job, but I feel like some of the teachers are actually teaching because due to lack of job, it's not something that they enjoy doing, or it's not something that they wanted to do, but due to jobs not being available, they then fall into that sector to basically teach. These also can affect students, because when it comes to exams and things like that, I was actually looking into the educational system in the Gambia, and it shows that quite a lot of students, their grades have actually dropped down due to this. And also the package that has been given to teachers, well, let's say the public sector, nurses, police officers, and also teachers, there's no package for them as well. So I think our government has a lot to work on in regards to the public sector. Schools are very important in the Gambia, and it's like, if you can afford to take your child to a private school, you will do it, because you don't want your child to go to a government school, which shouldn't be the case. So I just see it as the government school it's basically people that can't afford to have a good education. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely, because in the Gambia, the teaching field is not made attractive for teachers, because usually people who go into teaching are people who have no other option. They have no other choice. So if you have no other choice, you will, go to the teaching field. And we have seen very good teachers who went into the teaching field because they had no other options. And then while they are in that, field, any other opportunity that comes their way, they will just, leave and then take those opportunities. So it is the role of the government to make sure that our educational sector is made attractive, encourage our teachers, pay them very well, salaries to keep them, because we have to understand that there are 4 sectors in any country. If those sectors are not developed, you cannot call such a country a developed country. And the educational sector is one of them. You have agriculture, we have the health sector, and then the infrastructure. So people who are doing their best to develop the human capacity in our country should be encouraged very well. And then how do you encourage them? Is by paying them very good salary, so that they can stay in the system and serve the country. And you've made mention of the poor quality of education. We have to also look at the structure of the education system in the Gambia. When I was going to school, we had 6-3-3-4, but now what we're having is 9-3-4. So basically, people go to school from year 1 to year 9. They don't sit to any major exam. So basically, you've been promoted from one grade to the other, and that discourages quality education, in the sense that people are not studying in preparation for exams like the grade 6 exams that we used to have. So you go through the grade 9 system, you get to grade 9, you sit to an exam. If you don't pass, you cannot get entrance into the high school system. And then we see that many people would graduate from grade 9. They can't even construct a very good sentence, or they can't even write a very good sentence. So this is a problem. And even today, our grade 12 system is not very impressive, in the sense that people are just graduating. They don't know, they cannot differentiate between their left and their right. So our educational system right now, the structure we have in place, I think the government should look into it. It is not effective. It is a factory process. It's just taking in people and then forcing them out at the other end, without them basically knowing exactly what to do. And let's say the literacy rate in the Gambia right now is 55 to 56%. But in Senegal, the literacy rate is 51%. So the Gambia is doing better than Senegal. But when it comes to skills, what I appreciate about the Senegalese is that you go to school, maybe you finish at grade 9. Immediately you finish, they will go into a trade school. They learn these trades. And then at the end of the day, that is the most important thing, because we need these jobs. Because you just going to school, learning the history and whatever, is not going to give you the skills that you need to develop our country, because we need that skills. And even in the West here, that's what we're seeing. They're encouraging more vocational training. in their system. Even when you go into their regular schools, they will have, different fields, but not just the social sciences. So we have to definitely look into this if we want to bring about changes in our country. And if we want the Gambians to be in charge of the development of the country, we have to change the educational system completely, because it is not working.
I agree. Waka, do you have anything to say in regards to that?
Yeah, I think like these are like really great topics, and I agree for the most part with everything that was said, especially with regard to the government, stepping up a little bit when it comes to education, but they have to basically step up with regards to everything, because the access to information is still important. People, everyday people cannot afford internet, so they also have to look into the telecommunication aspect of how do we make internet affordable for the everyday person in Gambia. Because I saw somebody in the comments say, why don't we do online courses to lower the cost of it, education and stuff like that. But if people can't afford internet, they can't afford to get online courses. So a lot of things go hand in hand for the government for them to do. But at the same time, I believe we also have a part to play, where we have to expose these people or our people into understanding the value of having a skill. Like when I was in Gambia for like 10 months last year, I've noticed a key difference between Gambians and other people that come to Gambia to like better themselves. The difference is we don't value skills in a sense of it being a livelihood for us. Like our own people look down on certain skills in the first place. So
Yes.
some of us will not even want to venture into those things because everybody's gonna be like, oh, he's just a carpenter, or he's just a taxi driver, or he's just, so
And we don't support that
right,
individual to basically keep motivating them.
exactly. So you rather sit at home, do nothing, than go get into those trades and make something of yourself. And the other thing is, like, the Gambians that I did see that are going into those fields, they end up using that skill as a hobby and not a business. So we have to get to that point where we're getting these people to have more of a business mindset. Because I'll give you an example. Like 2 years ago, I went to Gambia and I met this Senegalese guy. He's an electrician. So he came to our house. He fixed like some stuff and boreholes and stuff like that. So I left and I came the next year, and this guy has his own business. He has like a borehole drilling business, electrician, got his own van, everything, business cards, all that. But I met the same Gambian electrician, but he's doing the same thing from the last time I met him. So we have to get out of the mindset of hand to mouth. Like when I have a job, whatever I make, I eat it right away. So how do we, from the people from here who know a little bit about business, money management, financial independence, stuff like that, how do we start to teach people how to be more financially independent and thinking about actually having their own business, and whatever skill that they have, how can they leverage that to make a better life for themselves, rather than just looking at it as like a side hustle or something like that, but you can actually make this into a business. So I think that as much as the government has to do, I think we're going to have to take it upon ourselves to actually, tap into these people and make them realize that they can use their skills to, in fact, improve their lives, because everybody else doing it, they're not better than us. I know there's a lot of talented Gambians who are in these sectors of skill, but they're not taking it serious enough to actually make something out of it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Waka. But I think this all comes back to the education itself, because at the end of the day, I mean, like you said, we have people who have skills who are Gambians, but they are not business savvy. They are not looking into how they can transform their skills into a business enterprise. And I think all these things can be learned, in the school, because this is why I was emphasizing about the mentorship itself, because most of these universities here in America, there are clubs, there are organizations, there are associations wherein they teach people to be business minded, because let's say I am doing international criminal justice as my major, but upon graduation, if I'm not hired by somebody, I can decide to maybe set up my own security company in the Gambia in the future. But how do I get to know that? Because I was told that somebody had to mentor me to tell me, look, you're doing criminal justice. This is a very good, area. You can create your own employment, and then you can create, employment for other people. So unless we are told about these things, we're not going to know. And then we need also civil organizations to come in to help Gambians. We need more training centers wherein we can teach our Gambians how to create their own businesses. Because at the end of the day, you go to school, you graduate, you don't have any skills, or even if you have a skill, but nobody saw you how to go about setting up a business, translating that skill into a business, then it becomes very useless.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've got Amy also. Amy, are you there? Amy?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. What do you have to say?
All right, thank you for having me. I'm just wondering, I noticed that the majority of Gambians cannot afford to buy land. And I know on the last show you were talking about land grabbing. I didn't get to call in, but I do have a question. How is the government selling land? Because it looks like majority of people that are buying the land are foreigners, people that come in and take advantage of the, they have the money to do so, and the average Gambian cannot. So how is your government, we want to talk about Gambians first before any other people. So how is the government protecting their citizens when it comes to land? Because what I'm noticing is people coming in to just grab the land. Can you emphasize on that, please?
Absolutely. I think what is happening, because when you look at the Lands Act of 1990, all lands within the Greater Banjul area is basically owned by the government, especially when you go to the tourism development area, which is called the TDA. So from the shore, I think from the mouth of the river or the Atlantic Ocean itself, going in like 800 meters, those locations are specifically owned by the government for the tourism development. But we also have customary ownership of land in the Gambia. And with this land grabbing that is taking place, it is not the government of the Gambia that is selling the land. It is the local people who are selling the land to outsiders. And what I thought the government would have done is to come up with a very comprehensive land policy that will make sure that, if you are selling land to non-Gambians, there has to be a certain demarcation. Let's say, for instance, an immigrant or a foreigner can only buy 25 by 25 for residential purposes, which is okay. But when it comes to agricultural purposes, they cannot own land unless and until they become citizens. What they can do is to have a partnership with our Gambian landowners. A lot of Gambians are having lands around the villages, around those small towns. They have the land, but they don't have the capital to invest in that land. So what the government should do is to encourage, investors when they come in to say, look, if you want to do agriculture, we have landowners here. Have a partnership with them. Involve a lawyer. Let them sign, have an agreement. Look, your land will always belong to you. But whatever proceeds comes out of this project, we are going to do 35, the 40%, we plow it back into, the business itself. So that agreement should be there to make sure that the land belongs to the Gambians, and then you can transfer it to your kids or your great-grandkids. Because we have to understand that in America here, even if you buy your own plot of land, you own the structure, but the land itself doesn't belong to you. Why can't we replicate the same thing? Today, our landowners in the Gambia are looking at that mega dollars that has been displayed in their face. somebody comes and give you $7,000 US dollars. It's a lot of money, but you can eat that money in a year or two. But now the land is gone for the next 99 years or so. You will never own that land. You lose it completely. So I think we have to, try to sensitize our people to understand what is the value of land, because land is important. The value, land is power, land is wealth, land is prestige. So how can you transfer that and just sell it helter-skelter like that because of you are looking at today? You're not thinking of the future. But I don't blame our people that much. I blame the government. It is the responsibility of the government to sensitize, and they are not doing that. We have people.
I absolutely agree. Sorry to cut you there, because I feel like we are blaming the diaspora too much, which shouldn't be, because whatever we're offering in the country, that's what they're grabbing.
Yeah.
If the government actually puts these laws in place and say, hey, look, this is it, the African diaspora will have to follow those rules. They can't basically say, you know what, we're going to do what we want. So I think the people we need to talk to is our people in the country selling the land and the government.
Correct.
So that others can understand that, okay, when you come to Gambia, or before you come to Gambia, you can't even buy a land when you're not even in the country. So this has nothing to do with our brothers and sisters buying land, but it has to do with the government. I just want to make that clear, because I think our brothers and sisters think that, oh, Gambians don't want us to buy the lands, Gambians this, Gambians that, when this is not the case. We are absolutely happy for you to come and buy a land. But it's the way that our people are doing it now, because I kind of feel like they know that our brothers and sisters are coming back, so they're being greedy by selling lands, and they don't even know the value of their lands.
And what's more annoying is the fact that, okay, they're selling these lands illegally, and the people are also participating in the illegal land buying when they know that they can't do that in their country. And they come to Gambia and do this just because somebody wants to sell you land illegally and you join in. It shouldn't be like that. They should follow the same. They should follow the same rules like they set in place in their countries.
Yeah, and I just want to take this opportunity just to talk to the diasporans. Like Rene said, this is very important for you to know. We are not here on this platform to speak negative about you. What we want you to understand is, and then which is important, before you buy any land in the Gambia, do your due diligence studies, because at the end of the day, these people are only interested in selling land. If you buy the wrong land, you're going to end up losing your money, because there are laws in place that the government put in place that everybody should follow. So, but they know that you coming from the diaspora, you have money. They will sell any land to you without you even knowing whether it is legal for you to buy that type of land, because
it's not even fair on them as well.
Yeah, it's not fair. So
work so hard for their money, and they're losing it.
Yeah, do the right thing. Do the right thing. Get involved with Gambians who know exactly what is happening there. Let them, refer you to the right offices, to the right people. You do the right thing, because at the end of the day, you don't want to spend your money and then you end up losing it. It's not fair to you, because I wouldn't want that to happen to me. We are welcoming everybody, especially the diasporans, Black diasporans. We want you to come back to Africa. That's what we want.
And I do see a lot of people commenting, get the Chinese, Lebanese out. We can't do this alone, just us Gambians. So we need everyone, the Black diaspora, just like you've mentioned, for them to come back home, and so that we can fight this in a positive way together. Let's join hands and do it. That's the only way these things can actually stop. But without that, us joining hands and us just keep fighting each other, nothing is going to happen, because these people are going to sit out there and just laugh at us, and that's what's going to happen.
And Renee, just to make things clear here, this land grabbing thing doesn't even have to do with only the Black diasporans. It's for anybody, because I made a few videos about the Chinese and then the Arabs. So what we are saying is, if you come into Gambia, you are not a Gambian. You just have to make sure you follow the laws. That is in your own safety. I don't care whether you're a Chinese or whether you're a white person or whether you're African American. At the end of the day, what you want to do is you want to abide by the rules and regulations. When I came to America here, I had to follow the rules and regulations. And this is why I was able to stay here for 10 years without having any problem.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that is all we're asking. And then, not to hijack the topic, today we're definitely talking about education. So I think we should try to focus on that, because that is what,
yes.
Yeah.
I've got Jay. I'm not sure what he wants. I think it's KJ. He wants to say something. KJ, can you hear us? Okay, let's move on to Sammy's treasure.
Hey guys, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm just gonna backtrack to talking about education, because I think that's what the topic was about, right?
Exactly.
I heard someone say the government schools, people go to public schools because it's only the rich that can afford it, and they think they can get better education. So I just want to say that it's not as if the public schools don't have a good education system. They have, to me, based on my opinion and what I see, I think the public schools, in fact, do have better education than the government school. The government schools do have a better education than most of the private schools. I'm not gonna say all of them, but most of them that are there are just there because they want to make money. But if you look at it, what they're teaching these kids, this is based on experience. I was in a private school. What they're teaching these kids, some of the syllabus are quite different from the WIEC syllabus, obviously, because some of them are like international schools. And if you look at it again, history-wise, these kids are being taught the history of the European history and the American history. And I think that is very, very unfair. But hey, if you choose an international schools, which is doing the GCSE exam, which is the London-based examination, what else do you expect? They are going to be teaching you what they're teaching the kids in London, history-wise, because then when you take the exam, if you're being taught about Gambian history and you know nothing about the British history, when you go in the exam room, then that means you're not going to be able to do anything in that room. So they have to teach them the GCSE level of exam syllabus. So that's what's going on. But the private schools, the government schools do have good schools like St. Augustine, Gambia Senior Secondary School, Nusrat, even Muslim, they're good schools that are being taught really good. Students that graduate from those schools, they're doing wonders. They have they're smart kids. But the problem we have in Gambia also is we learn a lot of theory and we don't have the equipment practical wise, if that makes sense. That's another issue that we have in Gambia. You just don't teach people the book, read, unnecessarily reading things that are going to benefit you. And then when you go outside to perform, you don't know what to do.
Yeah, I mean, you're very right about that, Binta. I think our public schools are one of the best in the country, because I went to Nusrat, and then for the past 10 years, Nusrat has been leading. It's one of the best high schools, and it is a public high school that caters for people coming from poor backgrounds. But here, what we're trying to advocate is, like you said, they are just teaching us about the theoretical aspect of education, and this alone is not going to help us. Because at the end of the day, we know that government hires only a very few percentage of the people upon graduation. Now, it is high time. For the past 50 years, we have been doing the same thing, and then it doesn't give us any meaningful results. I think it is time for us to try a new system wherein we are going to teach our kids skills that will guarantee them a future, a better future. Because for me, that's the most important thing. Since I came to America, for instance, I spent about 8 years just getting my bachelor's. Sometimes, when I sit back and I think, I said, look, if I had studied plumbing, all I need is just 2 years. I would be making good money. but I decided to go in for the social sciences. I went for criminal justice as my bachelor, my associate. Now I'm doing international criminal justice for my bachelor's. And even after that, there is no guaranteed future for me, because at the end of the day, in New York here, we all know the competition is very high. So if I don't get training to be able to transform that knowledge into a self-business or a self-enterprise, then basically it means I've wasted all those thousands of dollars going to school. At the end of the day, I'll be a jobless person. So I think this is what is key here. How do we encourage Gambians to do things within our school system that will guarantee them a future at the end of the day? Because for you to be an entrepreneur is better than you working for somebody. And
Yes.
this is the conversation.
Zandela, what do you have to say? Sorry, Binta.
So yeah, I think I agree. Actually, I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I agree. I do, however, believe that not everybody can be entrepreneurs. Not everybody has the ability to create companies. So I agree with what you said previously about we need to start teaching the children as well as how to do certain roles within organizations. Because if every Gambian opens up a business, then who works for the business? So I think it's really important that we do go back to the youth, as well as some of the adults who are currently not doing anything but have a lot of skills. I think Gambia is full of skilled adults that don't have the possibility or don't have employment options. So I think if we're coming from the diaspora and we are opening up organizations and we are trying to work collaboratively to have big companies, then we must involve the Gambians. And if we don't involve them in a ownership level, then we must start to train them so that they have the skills to work inside our organizations.
I agree. What do you have to say, Lama?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Zandela, and then thank you very much for coming to this platform. I think you are you should be an inspiration for the diasporans coming to Africa in general, because the kind of mindset you have is exactly what we need from our brothers and our sisters coming to Africa. We want a partnership. We want you to come join us so that we can move Africa forward. We have to work together. We don't want separation between us. That has been happening for centuries. But how can we bridge the gap? Because we know that the Africans in the diaspora, they have vast knowledge in different areas, in different fields, and Africa cannot move forward without those skills. So how can you come to Africa, set up your business, hire the local people, have partnership with them, and then we move forward? Because at the end of the day, all we want is a win-win situation for all.
Yeah, I think that is quite easy to do, but we have to make sure that when we're coming, that we come with that attitude, that we have a certain set of skills, but actually Gambians have a set of skills that we don't know about because they are Gambian and that's where they live. So I think if we come and we have this superior God complex, we will always face challenges. If we expect people to work for us without training them and giving them the right skills, then we will always be disappointed in what they produce. And if we don't pay them correctly, then we will always be worried about what their motives are and if you can trust them with this business that you've created. So I think exactly the same way we run companies over in the West, we have to go with that same mindset. So if you hire a member of staff, you hire that member of staff who has the skills to be able to do the job. And if they don't have the skills to be able to do that job, then you offer some sort of apprenticeship so that they're working inside your organization, they're learning the skills, their salary or their increases as they gain more knowledge within the role. And that way you are training to work inside the organization. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, absolutely.
That is true. I think that's what we're lacking in the Gambia, because a lot of people, if you're basically planning to employ let's say the youths or someone professional to work within your company. They just look at people with the experience, or people that you know that can do the job, and not providing that same opportunity to people that you know, okay, they don't have the skills or the experience, but let me train them so that they can get to the level that I want them to. So this is things that we're actually lacking in the country. And Gambians already noticed that in order to get into a very good job, or not even a very good job, but to be employed, most jobs you have to know someone in order for that person to actually offer you a job. So all these things are things that we need to look into as well.
Yanks, do you want to come in?
Hey everyone, my name is Yankuba.
Hi, Yanks.
Yeah, I remember everyone here. Zendaya, right?
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think I'm following your YouTube channel. I
thank
like
you.
what you're doing. It's very inspirational to all of us, and a lot of us. It's like, you know, we've been in the diaspora for a while now. I've been here for like 9 years. I guess by choice, but not really, because you know, if like I had the mentality I have now when I was back home, I probably would never left. But you know, because of how like the whole world, the system of the world work, a lot of us has to take this route to be somebody, to be able to help our people back home. And the reason why we left was that we have not seen that there was ways and means to be able to help our people while we're still in our country. Money wise, it's like the world is structured in a way that the value of your money is way bigger. Like it's way bigger than any money outside of the West. You know, the West created a system where their money, the equivalent of their money, is always holding more power to the money of like the African countries. Either you're like French colony, British colony, whichever colony you are, like their money always outweigh your money. So we've realized that people that come from the West, they come with like nice cars, own houses, you know, wearing chains and all that. So that mentality has get to a lot of Gambians, and we believe that success only comes when you move outside of your country. And that's the reason why a lot of us left. But coming here and realizing that some of those were like just fantasy and it's not real. You don't even own your own time. Like I'm on a time stretch right now. I have 2 minutes to go. Like I wouldn't have that if I'm in Gambia and owning my own things and doing my own thing. Um, you know, like you have to work for somebody. Not that you have to, but you know, it's a skill. You have to start from the most degrading jobs or whatever that you might not even do in your at your own like back home or anything, but you will do that while you're in the West. For me, that same mindset that we realize once we travel that this is all fake, it's not real. It's like that's going back home and not being that same person that drive around with these big cars and sewing the chains and acting like you're outside of this world. We should be holding ourselves accountable at first. We should go and humble ourselves once we get back to Africa. We should see that like black unity, black, you know, our liberation is the only way forward for us, and our success only can come when we all unite together. You can own a business, you can do all these things, but if you don't have the proper structure around you, there's no success in it. You're never going to be successful. And if you don't have people that also support your business, whether you're in Africa, America, wherever you are, you're not going to be successful. So valuing those people and building those people around you, you know, is very very key to our individual success, but also collectively making the country that we all, you know, yearn for and love, which is Gambia, to be a country that could be, you know, positioned in the world like with every other superpower, not maybe, you know, that structure and power struggle nature of superpower, but like being able to comfortably say that, you know, anybody can come home and, you know, I can say this is my home and I'm proud of this. And
Yeah.
to do that, like, we have a country that we have to build, and we can do that together. Whether you are a born Gambian citizen or you're somebody that really love Gambia and want to see Gambia go forward, we have to do this together. Everybody else that come with a mentality of seeing people and not understanding the reason why they're in that position and looking down on them, or thinking that you are better, and not knowing that all of us as Black people being in that position, whether you're in the West or people look at you that way already. So you shouldn't take that same energy back home and feed that same energy into people, because now you feel like you're
Absolutely.
superior, because you've been in the West and you look a certain way, or your skin tone changed because the weather makes you look some a little bit lighter than our people back home. Shouldn't give you that mindset of being better than those people. To me, the smartest people I know never sat in a classroom. You know, my mom, if I have any problem or anything, if I call my mom, literally that lady would talk to me as if she can see everything that's happening around me. She never left Gambia. She would literally say things that I'll be like, lady, you never travel. Like, how do you even have this perception of the world and things like that? And that's because, like, wisdom doesn't really come with what you read from these books, because 90% of the books we reading are from these, like, white ways of thinking. And I tell everybody, our success would only come if we, like, give ourselves the opportunity to see what really works in Africa and build on those things, upgrade those things. We don't have to do the things like the Western people do. We can do our own things, but improve the things that have already been working. My mom, she was selling at the market. Like, she's like, we call them Jendenjai. She will go buy and sell. Like, we all went to school through her efforts. And my dad also is a tailor, but they, like, they work in a way that they was never short of money. Like, our school fees was always paid for, and that's what they did. So the same system of how they were able to save their money and generate, like, income, and also, like, being able to take us through school and everything. That's the same system we have to implement, but upgrade it in a way that it will be more fit into how we want to see Gambia elevate and become, like, the country that we all love. There's so
Yeah.
many things that I could think of, but
Yeah.
I'm going to stop
That was
here.
just amazing,
I
Yang. Thank
think,
you so much.
yeah, I think you're very right, Yangs, because again, I would relate this into our educational system, because at the end of the
Sorry,
day,
Lama. I just want to say this because I got to go.
Mhm.
Let's say fuck it to the Western mentality. I'll join you guys once I can.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
You have a good one.
Yep.
I think what Yangs was saying is very important, and to me, I think this comes back to our educational system, because perception is very important in whatever you do. Because he talked about when he was in the Gambia, and most of us, when I finished school, I worked in the Gambia for about 4 to 5 years, but I always had this perception in my mind that in order for you to succeed, you have to come to the West, you have to travel. And it took me time to know that this is not true. It was until when I landed in the United States of here, a reality of life hit me on my forehead, because the first day I got here, it was January. Once I walked out of the terminal, and then just when the cold breeze hit me, I wanted to go back in. And then that I realized then that, look, I'm at a different environment, and life is never going to be easy for me.
Absolutely.
So many people who are living in the Gambia or in Africa, having never traveled, always have this perception that if you don't come to the West, you're not going to make it. And this is where I was saying our educational system, we have to go back to it again. What is it that we are teaching our people in our schools? Because our culture, national pride, Black pride should be something that we should teach in our schools. We are teaching people the wrong history. We are not teaching them about Black pride and everything. So you as a person, why would I look up to another country to say if I don't travel there, I can never make it in life? That is one thing that the Americans have. They always teach their kids in school that America is the greatest country in the world, and here you can be anything. we always hear about the American dream, but it's not true. How many people are living in poverty in this country? But when you are outside of this country, what the media shows you is like people live in gold in this country, and that's not the truth. There is a better life out there. So I think between we Africans and our brothers and our sisters in the diaspora, our interest, our destiny is aligned. And how can we make our dreams become a reality is we have to work together, because it has to take both parties to work together to make sure that we get what we want. Because if we don't do that, we will remain at the lowest of the low. Because when you look at all other races around the world, it is the black person who is suffering more than any other person.
True.
So there is so much we can do.
Thank you for that. KJ, is there anything you want to say?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I'm happy to be here. I follow all of you guys on YouTube. I'm a big supporter. I subscribe. I have you guys, and I listen. I'm in Florida right now. I'm in the US, and I've been traveling to Africa for since 2006. I love Africa. I love Botswana, South Africa, Uganda, Ghana. I've never been to Gambia, but for me, I am an electrical contractor. I'm a builder in the States. I'm a certified builder, certified electrical contractor, certified solar contractor here. And I agree totally with what you guys are saying. And I want to go to Africa, especially Gambia. I'm originally from Jamaica. I was born in Jamaica, grew up in poverty, moved to the States, and make something for myself. I totally agree that for Gambia to move forward, we have to have the youth and learn a trade. I'm completely agree that trade is the way to go. I am 100% for. I'm jabbing. Let me pull over here. That if we can teach the local Gambian how to be an electrician, how to install solar, how to do plumbing correctly, how to be a mason, a tile setter, it will change their life completely. I would never. I've been in business for 20 years. I would never go and work for somebody. I will always have a trade. My kids will, if they're going to be a doctor, they have to learn a trade. They have to learn about business, because that's the future. If you learn a trade, for example, become an electrician, you can go anywhere, not only in Gambia, but if you need to migrate to the United States, United Kingdom, you can take those skills and apply them and make something out of yourself. Those trades will never go away. And I totally agree that vocational school, tertiary education will be a huge difference, make a huge difference in helping Gambia to move forward. So that's something that for Gambia to move forward, I think the youth that's just sitting around looking for a job can learn a trade, hire one or two people, just one or two, to start and make a big difference in their life. Their quality of life will drastically improve. And I'm willing to team up with you guys and come down there and work with you and provide my skills, my experience as a business owner, as a business owner in the construction industry, and help to move Gambia in the right direction. Thank you very much. That's all I have to say. I will listen.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that. We look forward to having you in the Gambia as well.
Yeah, thank you very much, KJ. And I think if we can have more like-minded people like you, definitely Gambia will move forward. Africa will move forward, because this is exactly what we need, because we know what we want. Just coming back to what you said about the trade school, our governments are spending millions of dollars every year on construction. Let's say, for instance, if you want to build a road in the Gambia, or you want to build a bridge, most of the time these contracts are going to the Chinese or the Europeans. Why can't we have a think tank, we the Africans, whether in the diaspora or in Africa on the continent? We have the skills, we have engineers, we can do anything. So what we would love to see is to have a think tank within the West here of our African brothers and our sisters who have the skills, engineers. Let them form a think tank, a team, and go and negotiate with our African governments. Because at the end of the day, whenever we have projects in Africa, our black brothers and our sisters who are engineers can, tender for these things. If you win the contract, You go ahead, you build these structures, millions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars. At the end of the day, the money comes to you. Perhaps 50% of that money, you're going to spend it in Africa. The rest, you can take it wherever you want to take it. But if the contract is given to a Chinese or a European company, at the end of the day, 99% of the money is taken back to their countries. And this is how China was able to develop. Because there are major structures in the Gambia. For instance, our Independence Stadium was built by the Chinese. This new conference center was built by the Chinese. What they do is when they come, they hire our laborers, pay them meager salaries. That's all the money we are able to retain. The rest of the money is being taken out of the country. And this is draining our coffers. So I think we, the Black people around the world, if we can pull our talents together and unite, we can be able to do great things and improve our livelihoods by taking these contracts away from Europeans and the Chinese who are doing most of this work in Africa.
I agree. Well, thank you for that. Big Fams, do you want to take over?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Wow, another exciting topic that we got on going today. And thanks, Lama, thanks Rene, and thanks to Black Mamba, thanks to Yang, thanks to KJ, the brother who just spoke recently.
And Zandela as well.
I think what he says make a lot of sense, and Zandela, yeah. What the brother just spoke about right now, I think it makes a lot of sense. Because these are the kind of brothers we want, especially in Gambia, because we're a developing country. We have a long way to go, but despite all that, we can overcome that in a short while if people are ready to work in, like put in work, invest on the people, invest in the country, and get whatever you want. Because like Lama said, the thing we want is to have Chinese or these Muzungus come into Gambia and take in projects, because we don't want that. We want our old brothers to go back home and develop. And that brings me back to our educational system. I think the Gambia we need to reform the education. We have about 6 to 8 subjects that we do every day. At a young age, and it's all theory. We barely do practical. And I would suggest that the government should just reform the educational system, whereby if a kid loves carpentry, if a kid loves making cars, if a kid loves singing, whatever it is, let them focus more on that kind of area, and just have probably 2 or 3 basic subjects that are a must, that you must do, plus your area of study or your area of life. I think if that happens in Gambia, then there's going to be a lot of changes in the next decade. It could be even next 5 years, but we need to check onto that. We need to put a pressure on the government so that they will be able to sit and make amendments, because most of this education we do is just on Muzungus, just for their own interest. We don't even know most of this stuff. Like myself, when I came to the US, I studied history, but to an extent in Gambia. It has a limit. I didn't know what happened to my brothers and sisters when they were taken to America. I didn't know nothing about it until I came to the US. When I started reading about the Black Panther Party, and then studying most of these black heroes that stood up against these Muzungus, that stood up against racial injustice, that stood strong, that became successful, that became millionaires in the middle of Jim Crow. These are the stuff that we need to teach our people, because they don't know what's going on. And the fact that we have, the fact that we have the belief that without Muzungus or without Chinese we can make it, that is just a fairy tale story. We have to change our system. We have to change the way.
Because they've made us believe that without the white people, the Chinese, we can't basically do anything for ourselves.
Exactly.
So that's the mentality that's been put into us. And also, if you're not educated, you can't make it in life. You're just a failure.
Exactly.
So these are the things that we need to change in order for us to move forward. But we will never move forward if we're going to look up to these, let's say the Western lifestyle. We need to have our own thing. We are African. We have a continent that we need to work on and create our own thing because we are unique. And if we don't realize that, then others will come and basically abuse what we have. And we are just going to sit and smile and nod our heads. That's all we're going to keep doing.
Just like they're doing now. Just like they're doing now. And one thing I want to put onto that is, to back my suggestion is, I think the government should set up a system whereby they will give scholarships, mostly to these vocational students. Promote carpentry, promote mechanic, promote welding and everything. If most of the students venture into that, give them scholarships, and they're going to sign like a contract that they're going to go for studies overseas and come back and serve the government for 5 to 10 years. Once we do that, then we're going to see that we wouldn't have to focus more into these unnecessary subjects. Most of these youth are going to focus more on vocational training, and we wouldn't have to order most of these catches from Turkey or China or whatever country we order them from. It's going to bring change in Gambia. That's going to promote self-employment, and people are going to be self-satisfied. We wouldn't focus more onto begging people, more onto tourism, because I believe that's the only way out. We can just stop tourism. So we can just stop this kind of nonsense that's going on in the tourism department or in the tourism sector. Once the people get a skill, once you encourage more of the youth to focus on skill development, then people are going to become self-employed, and they're going to hire more young people. Then they're going to take up the country to another level. So that's just what I have to suggest onto this topic, and appreciate it for the time and everything. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thank you very much, Farms. Just to add on to what you said, when you look at our educational system, in junior schools and secondary schools, we have what we call the technical drawing, TD, we have woodwork and whatever. But these subjects are not treated with justice in our school system. They are not even, our school workshops are not fully equipped. So it's just like the government is having these programs in the system just to have it. Because I believe that introducing vocational education start from our high schools. If you go to high school, from year 9 in school, you go to high school. If you decide that you want to become a carpenter, they should only teach you something that has to do with carpentry and maybe your history, few other subjects. But what we do is we put these skills at the back burner. We just concentrate on teaching kids things that are not relevant to their future.
You don't even need that in the future. You absolutely don't.
We don't need it. So what is wrong with our government is like, we are taking a project which is a white elephant project. We're spending millions of dollars in our school system, but at the end of the day, the product that comes out is very bad. So why embark on a wasteful project if that is the case? So our government needs to be serious about this. Our Ministry of Higher Education has to look into this. This is something that we need, and they know it. But why aren't they taking this step is the other question. Because for far too long, we have a system is not working. What is wrong with us? Why can't we change it? I'm going to give you an example. For instance, in China, I think I made mention it last time. In 1965 or 1970, the GDP per capita for the Chinese people is $97. Fast forward to today, China is the production factory of the world. And the reason why the US is even having this trade issue with China is because they know that they cannot stop China. China basically makes everything for everybody around the world. But they started from somewhere. They targeted their educational system. They made sure that their citizens are given the requisite skills that they need for life. So they went into vocational trainings. Whatever you need now today, you can have it in China. China has produced so much so that they cannot even consume it on their own. And this is why they are taking projects all around the world, because they have the skills. Whatever you think of in this world, China can build it. They have the skills. So we have to teach our youths, about skills, because that's what is going to move the Gambia forward. So we cannot sugarcoat this. They know it. Why is it that we're not doing it? Is the question. So that we have to answer.
Sammy's Treasure, do you want to take over? You're on mute.
Yes. You can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to say you know, at this point, we already know where the
Sorry,
government
Sam.
stands,
Sorry.
okay?
Let me just cut you off, guys. She's also a YouTuber, so I'll leave her link in the description box, so you can always go on and subscribe. She's a Gambian YouTuber. You can go ahead.
Okay. So, we already know where the government stands, you know, and we have been complaining for the longest time. Okay, so at this point, someone sent a message and saying, how do we make things better and not just depend on the government? So I think it is time for diasporans, Gambian diasporans. We have a lot of Gambians in the diaspora. We are all over the world because Gambians, you know, we're known for leaving the country. Okay, what happened?
I'm not sure. Sorry about that. You can go ahead.
Okay, that's fine. So we're known for leaving quickly, wanting to leave Gambia. So we are all over the world. So I think it's time for us in the diaspora, you know, come together, work together, and try to find ways that we can help develop the country. Like we can't just expect people to do it for us, because I noticed that a lot of people like would be on social media saying, "Hey, because we're happy to see Black Americans go to Gambia. You know, we're very happy. But are we gonna leave everything in the hands of African Americans? We have to join hands with them. Okay, we have to join hands with them and develop the Gambia. And we Gambians in the diaspora, only we can do it. You know, let's come together, find ways to help the youth back home. You know, create businesses and employ people, and even the ones that are on ground in the Gambia, like the successful business people, the Gambians that have little companies that are successful right now. Let's say the building companies like Global Properties. It is time for them to take the Gambian youth as apprentices, just like the Nigerian people do. You know, even if they're going to pay a little bit, okay, that's fine, but don't charge them an arm and a leg. This is like a humanitarian work that Gambians have to come together and do it for the people, because that's the only way I see development coming into that country. But if we sit and wait for the government to do it, I don't see us going anywhere. Okay, for the next 10 years, I don't see us going. So the people that are on ground right now that have successful businesses, go ahead and train the youths. Even the people that are already doing DIYs, but they are not very professional, go ahead and teach them, you know, professionalism, customer care, customer service, very important. And us that are in the diaspora also, let's come together. We are many. If we're ready to do it, I think we can do it. We don't have to just jump and start, you know, wanting to do big things, but little by little, you know, people volunteering to go back home in the healthcare system and help, that is going to go a long way. Because recently we've seen what has been happening in our healthcare system because of what lack of professionalism, you know, our nurses and doctors not knowing their scope of practice, just going, oh my God, sorry guys, just going I'm sorry, you know, I have kids, just going into the system because I know this person, or this is my auntie, and this is where unprofessional people in the healthcare system putting the lives of the Gambian people into the hands of somebody who did not even go to school for 2 weeks. It's uncalled for. You know, Gambian people are dying all because of what? People that don't know what they're supposed to do are in positions that require you to have somebody's life in your hands. I think that is very wrong. So I think also the diasporans here, Gambians, when we come to the diaspora, everybody wants to be a nurse. Africans, when we come to the diaspora, everybody wants to be a nurse. We want to be in the healthcare system. So we love the healthcare system so much, and the quick money that you can get from it, I think it kind of motivates us to get into that system. But if let's say we have like a healthcare humanitarian group, okay, that can go at least, let's say, once every 3 months, you know, different groups come together. And if these groups go to Gambia for 2 months, or even if you have a 1 month leave, whatever leave you have, you go, you know, volunteer to help Gambians and even train our nurses and doctors. It's going to make a big difference, because it seems like Our nurses and doctors, some of them don't even know their scope of practice. And not only that, the lack of they're so inhumane towards our people. Because how can you look a sick person or somebody who is on the verge of dying, and you look at them and you tell them some nasty words, or you just neglect them because they are coming from another hospital? You expected them to come to your hospital first. Or look at a pregnant woman. I did a live on this yesterday. They look at a pregnant woman who is yelling and is in pain, and they have the nerves and the audacity to tell the person to shut up, because that is not the way you were yelling when you were doing it. That is just so unprofessional. So
I've had that so many times.
Our so-called professional people even need some teaching. They need some in-services just to have them, take exams, take in-service all the time, just to make sure they know what they're doing. Remind them, keep them up to date. And I think if we are ready to do it, like as diasporans here, we want to volunteer, it's going to go a long way in the Gambia. Because if they come, we go and they see us and how we're doing things, and we're teaching them, this is how you do it, this is how you do it. I think it's going to make a difference, and they're going to adapt to it. But what the problem is that sometimes the doctor that nurses are supposed to be learning from is the one making the greater mistake, or is the one that don't even care about what they're doing. So what do you expect somebody who is learning from you to do? They're going to adapt to what they're doing if they're not like very mindful of themselves. They're going to adapt to it. And then this is how we have a lot of nurses, treat people anyhow, and there's nothing that we do about it. And another thing is accountability. We are not holding people accountable for their actions. Gambia should have a system whereby if you abuse a patient or a resident, like for example here, when you work in a facility, we call them residents. If you abuse them, whether physical, mentally, verbal, and the most of it is like verbal abuse. If you abuse your patients in such kind of way, you need to be reported to a system, and then they will investigate you. Most likely you will lose your license in a snap of a finger. And we need that kind of system. And it's not as if the person that you abuse is the one that is supposed to report you. Anybody have the right to report you. The entire Gambian public should have like somewhere to rely on when things are going wrong. The entire public, whether you go to school or not, everybody should know that, hey, when this happens, this is what I'm supposed to do. When this happens, this is what I'm supposed to do. But no, we hear pregnant women always complaining, or people that have already delivered coming back home and saying, oh my God, if you know what the nurse did to me yesterday. My friend that I talked to a few days ago told me that she's an RN. She was an RN in the Gambia before she came to the United States. She told me that when she was working in the hospital, she watched a doctor who is like her boss talk to a pregnant woman and tell the pregnant woman, you shut up there. Is that how you were yelling and screaming when you were doing it on bed? And this is a nurse that is standing by you, is supposed to learn from you. And not only that, we have CNAs and SRNs. SRNs in Gambia means, if you're watching and you don't know that, I think it basically means something like CNA or SCNA. That is what we have in the labor department, performing delivery on women. And we ask why people are dying. We sit and ask why people are dying when we have CNA, a CNA that cannot even pass meth in the United States if you're not trained to do so. You don't have the right to pass meth. If you try it, you can put yourself in jail for the longest time. But we have such people in the labor department trying to help women to deliver, all because of what? We don't have enough nurses. One, because that's it. Because we have only one nursing school in Gambia. And that nursing school, if 60 or 70 people graduate in 1 year, these are the 70 people that are going to be distributed all over the Gambia from Banjul to Kato. 70 people. How enough is that? Is that enough for the entire Gambia? And most of these people will at some point leave the country as well, because they don't want to, the money there is not enough. How much are they even paying them? Less than $100. Yeah. So that's a problem. We have a very big problem to tackle in the healthcare system.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Not even 60. Our School of Nursing is graduating 35% every year. And at the end of the day, I mean, like you said, we are not even able to retain all of them. Some of them will travel outside of the country. And this is why I still emphasize on we need to change our educational system, because on my video, I did not only talk about vocational training, but I talked about the healthcare system, the ICT system sector also, and engineering, because we know definitely that we need a lot of nurses in the Gambia, we need a lot of doctors in the Gambia, and the very few that we have, they are overworked, because when you look at the ratio, I mean, one nurse to maybe 2,000-3,000 patients, that is insane. But what is it that our government is doing, or the private sector is doing? Like you said, if we Gambians can mobilize our resources who are in the diaspora, we can build a school, or we can even expand the school of nursing that we have. Instead of graduating 35 students every year, we can have 200 or 150. That will make a huge difference. But everybody is just like sitting, not doing anything. And the reason why I keep referring to the government is because we expect the government to have a structure. We know that the government cannot do everything, but it is the duty of the government to reach out to the private sector. Like this discussion that we are having, we expect that our Ministry of Health or our Ministry of Education should engage the Gambian people maybe once every month. You come to the media, we have media houses in the Gambia. Talk to Gambians. This is what we want to do as a government. But when it comes to resources, we don't have it. We have seen Gambians in the diaspora who have built health centers, clinics in their own villages. So what stops the government of the Gambia engaging Gambian citizens? Because the reason why most of us are not doing much is because we don't see any direction coming from the government.
Okay.
Although that should not limit us.
Thank you very much, Lama, for that information, and also Sammy's treasure. I think we're going to call it a day today, and because the healthcare system, it's huge. It's something that we need to talk about as well in the country. So I think next week topic, we'll see if we can do it next week, and then we can talk about this maybe Saturday or Sunday, but we can discuss that later on. And us three can talk about it and let the basically open the line so that people can join into the conversation and say what they want to say regarding the healthcare system in the Gambia as well. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we can do is, if we can have this every week, let's talk about all the sectors in the Gambia, because there is so much that we can talk about, and then all of these things are interconnected. So we starting this conversation will also motivate other Gambians to come on board, and then hopefully we can change minds and hearts to do something for the country.
That's absolutely fine. I'm already booked for next week, Saturday, as I've got one of my brothers in the States that want to share their experience as an African living in the States. So it's going to be a great live stream next week, Saturday, but we can look into doing it Sunday. So both Saturday and Sundays, I'll be having the live stream, so we can do it. Definitely. People need to know what's going on in the country, so that, because let's say many of us want to come, but we don't know much about the country, and the internet doesn't really give you that much information. So only us, the Gambians, can actually share this great information so that people can learn and also know what they're actually getting themselves into, and then get the ball rolling, really.
All right. Thank you very much for having me one more time again. And thank you to everyone who is in the stream at the moment. So until next time,
thank
a
you.
wonderful one.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Lama. Thank you, Sammy. Thank you, big fans. You guys are so amazing. Thank you very much. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.
You too. You're welcome. Have a good day, guys. Good weekend.